क्या हुआ लाडले? क्या हुआ लाडले? क्या हुआ? क्या हाल चाल? So guys, we are now at chapter 28, and the chapter 28 is going to be very enjoyable and conversating. And guys, I hope you all must must to enjoy, so that I feel ashamed of me. If you unable to say love, love, brr, brum, brum, brr. Lenny and I make our way slowly up the stairs towards my dorm dorm. We got our words, guys. We got our words. Dorm. What is meant by dorm? एक गलती जो मैं गाइस कर रहा हूँ वो है कि dorm. We got our word. Dorm room. My tears slowly starting to stop, but my eyes filled with water. Flanny with one of his arms around my waist. Waist में तो कमर ही होगा ना? Might be. Yeah, waist में तो कमर. And the other opening the door to my room using the round handle. The door chokes open slowly and walk towards my bed. He places me down to the bed, his eyes filled with worry. Here, you are okay, you are safe. Then he walked towards the bathroom, moving swiftly through the room. He grabbed a glass that was on the sink and filled it with water from the tap. He walks back over. Here, take small sip. Sip मतलब मुझे लगता है घूंट. He hands me the glass of water. My breathing still shaky, shaky, and rough. But it take deep breath before my lips reach the glass. Okay, and take a sip from the cold water. I could feel the liquid fall down my throat as I swallowed, tasting much nicer than the harsh alcohol I had been having for the past 2 hours. Okay, means that particular person is drinking wine or you can say alcohol for 2 hours. What the six. Huh. You guys. Flanny studied my face carefully as I spaced out. His usual grin dimmed into something stared. After a long pause, he asked, "What happened back there?" I stiffened, clutching the glass of water in my hand tighter. My chest feels heavy. I don't. My voice fatted, shaky. I swallowed. It was nothing, I say, lying to himself and me. Nothing? Planet tilted his head. Nothing? Eyes narrowing. Nothing? Just slightly. You look like you were. He cut himself off, searching my face for more. That wasn't nothing, Octavia. I have seen drunk girls before. That wasn't it. I dropped my gaze to the floor. The words hovered on the top of my thoughts. Chains, basements, nights, sea thoughts. I wouldn't survive, but they tangled into knocked. Too ugly, too heavy, too much to say out loud, too early. I forced out with a sick voice, shaky voice. What is shaky? Might be it's a low voice, might be. I don't like people grabbing me. That's all. My eyes glimping, glimpse up at his. His worried face still there. He didn't look convinced, but he didn't push it either. Instead, he stiffed, resting on hands lightly on the edge of the bed near her knee. Not touching, but closer. Fair enough, but for the record, his tone softened. The grin fickler back at the edge. No one gonna touch you like that again if I'm around. Alright? Of course, thank you. My throats tightened, tears straying again. I have never heard someone says that to me, to protect me. It's always been just me, fighting just for myself my whole life. I nodded quickly to what he said. He leaned back a little, easing the weight of the moment. Good, because I have got a reputation to uphold. You know, can't have my 7 minutes in heaven. Parents looking like partner looking like she's seen a ghost now. I can I. Despite myself, a quiet laugh escaped my mouth. It was watery, shaky, even but it was there. Flanny smiled, winded just enough, satisfying satisfaction flickering across his face. Not that better. "Urgh, urgh, oh, sang." Before I could answer, the door cracked, opened fast, and Tilly, Adira, and Frankie all sloughed inside. They were crying, carrying arms full of mismatched offerings, water bottles, cracks, sandwich, chocolates, half opened bag of chips, even a blanket someone must have grabbed off the couch. Emergency care package, Tilly announced softly with a warm smile. They laid it all out on the bed in front of me. I couldn't help but smile. Flanny shifted to the side of the bed, letting the girls sit down as well. But his eyes leaned on me for a bit longer, as if silently reminding me of his promise. You guys, I started to thank them with a trembly voice. Don't thank us yet. Frankie laughed as she grabbed a sandwich and placed it in my hand. Eat or will forced feed you. Eat or will forced feed you. You bastard! को नहीं आता तुमको. Bread is the best thing to eat after drinking. Bread soaks up all the alcohol in my system. Adira added on with a nod towards the sandwich. It took a courteous bite, chewing slowly. The plain taste grounded here more than she expected. The room filled with a gentle chatter, chatt, yeah, chatter. Means chatpit, cut, mat baatchit. The kind of soft voice people used when they didn't want to break something fragile. The girl and Flanny talk about random things. A ridiculous dance someone was doing in the living room, a near fight our, over the aux cord, and a guy spilling beer all over himself. Little details that tugged the pretty back into rich without forcing me to eat. Flanny stretched out on the bed beside me, pro, propped up on one elbow. Propped means ऐसे करके. On one elbow, S settling a chip, stealing a chip from the bag like nothing was wrong. You'd think someone was dying with all this fuss. He tested lightly, crunching loudly until Tilly smacked his arm. I rolled my eyes, but the corner of my mouth tugged upward. The panic's sap edge dulled and thought my face, though my face was still sticky with tears and my red eyes. The weight of my chest wasn't quite as crushing. Half an hour went by and my body felt heavier by the minute. My head dipping lower despite the laughter around me. The panic shape, the panic sharp edge had drained me completely, leaving me rungy, Wrungy, rungy, out and sacky. I stifled and yawned, but Flanny caught me instantly. Busted. He said with a crook grin, grin, green, leaning back on his hand. You were ready for bed, aren't you? Adhira reached over and tugged the blanket higher around my shoulder. She needs sleep, not you annoying her. She teased Flanny, but her voice was gentle. Flanny lifted his hand in mock surrender. In mock surrender, they, uh, hey, I have been nothing but a gentleman. You saw me, full rescue mission, superhero entrance. He glanced down at me, hoping to catch me smiling, and so he did. But I guess even superheroes have to clear out when the night's over. I glanced at him. But I guess even superhero have to clear out when the night's over. I glanced at him, a soft smile on my lips. Thank you, Flanny, for the rescue, he asked, pe- pretending to puff out his chest. Okay, for everything, I said quietly, my voice frayed at the edge. Something flickered in his eyes, but he kept that tone light. Don't mention it. Just promise you won't make a habit of terrifying me like that. My love come out weak, but it eased the heaviness in the room. Flenny paused himself to his feet, stretching. All right, ladies, I'm trusting you with a no wild karaoke, 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 karaoke. मेरा ये दाढ़ी, ये मुंह देखो, इसको थोड़ा सा, या तो इसको पूरा ऐसा होना चाहिए एकदम लीन में पतला सा, ये फूल गया ऐसे करके। क्या है ये, पतला हो गया मैं तो, पतला हो गया हूँ मैं। I'll check in tomorrow. Go, Frankie showed him off with a wave. We have got her. Flanny lingered for half a second longer, his gaze dropping back to Octavia. His grin softened into something warm, warmer, quieter. थोड़ा सा पैर मोड़ लेते हैं भाई, पलथी लगा लेते हैं। Sleep easy, easy peasy. Everyone, he once a smile to the girls. You are safe here, he quietly said to me only. I shoulders her, nodding as my eyelids grew heavy as Flanny slipped out the room and out the room. Out the door and out the room. Okay. The girls all said good night to each other, and within a matter of minutes, the blanket were rustling, and we all made ourselves into our individual beds. I curled under the cover, the warmth of their presence precision close for the first time in years. I wasn't feeling asleep in silence, but Flanny's words, slow and certain, echoed through my mind long after my eyes draft shut. You were safe here. Wow. The girls must be saved at any cost. Hey. 29. We are on page number, no, sorry. We are on chapter number 29. It's so simple. The next morning, I started at the sound of muffled groans and rustling blankets. Sunlight was already slipping, though the curtains warm and too bright for my aching head. My head was pounding and honestly buzzing from the party last night. The sour taste left in my mouth was awful and it hurts to even open my eyes. Ugh, I feel like it got hit by a truck. Frankie groaned lying on her bed, pulling a pillow over her head. Try three trucks, Tilly coughed, rolling over dramatically on her bed as well. Whose idea was it to do tequila shot after midnight? Tequila, sir. अच्छा tequila पिया है सर. Yos, Adira, and Franklin collectively said, followed by a sleep laugh from everyone. I sat up slowly on my bed, clutching the blanket around my shoulders, and couldn't help but smile a little. The lighted earthed complete complaints were exactly what I needed. Normally, I normally silly chef. Frankie sat up from her bed with a groan and skittered over to me. You look way too put together for someone who went through that last night. Please don't remember me. I groused heavily. Hey, you survived. She winked. That's all that matter. And you had Flanny Brello playing your own personal bodyguard. Half the girls in this school would kill for that honor. Frankie squeezed with a laugh. My cheeks went red quickly, blushing as I fiddled with the edge of the blanket. Yeah, well, I wasn't exactly glamorous as you saying it was. The girls laugh in sign. Since Swayansi Singh as Tilly stood up from bed, stretching her arms in the air. Please, if he carried me out of the party, I'd never shut up about it. The laughter from everyone, and me included, erupted even louder. Alright, Adira stood up from her bed. Come on, ladies, time to get up and get moving. We all collectively groan and slowly get up out of our beds. We all get changed into some different clothes and making our way out the room. The smell of coffee particularly drew us out of the bedroom. The building was much more quieter now. Only a few strangers, a straggler, moving around, cleaning up cups spaced out around the floor, people raiding the fridge, and even some people still asleep and passed out from last night on the couch. The kitchen was already buzzing when we walked into the kitchen. Alex and Henry were arguing over the last piece of bacon, while Adira and Frankie grabbed some pallets and Tilly said, set up on the counter after grabbing one orange juice from the fridge and drinking starting from the cartoon. Hey, everyone had something called a glass. Flanny snatched the cartoon out of her hand and handed her a glass with a smile. Tilly smiled when he grabbed the cartoon and put it back in the fridge. His eyes landed on me. My cheeks couldn't help but feel red and hot from the embarrassment of last night. Well, look who finally joined the land of the living. Flanny joked around, a warm smile curled on his lips. How are you? So cheerful at this hours? I rolled my eyes but smiled despite myself. He grinned, flipping a piece of bacon with exaggerated flair. That's because I'm a hero and a chef double threat. He jokes. Wow. What the English? What the English I'm saying? What the English? Everyone collectively tells him to shut up jokingly. Don't hate the player, hate the game, he mocks confidently. The girls bowed at his line but continued a laugh. I slid onto a stool at the island, feeling more a part of this group as the day go on. Alex was sitting next to me as he nugged my shoulder with his a grin plastered on his face. You slept through Flanny's very tighted, mongly about breast tot. Consider yourself one of the luckiest one. Tragic, Flanny repeated after him. Flattering offense. That Toast died a hero. She gave her life. So these eggs I am cooking, you could leave. The group erupted again. I shook my head and biting back a laugh. Okay, fine, Flanny, the king of the kitchen. Frankie jumps in and admitted, okay, sir. But only because he is the only one actually cooking us breakfast. No one else is. Flanny, there is hands up, agging with Frankie. Exactly, Flanny, someone appreciated my greatness. It was honestly such a sweet vibe in the kitchen. All of us waiting around for Flanny to finish cooking our breakfast. He was just cooking up the last two eggs while Tilly and Frankie were sitting up the table and the other boys filling all the glasses up with orange juice, and Adira was grabbing all the cutlery. I did offer my help, but everyone declared and just told me to sit tighter and wait for breakfast to be served. Being so special is so crazy, first of all. Alright, before doing breakfast, I served plain announced to the group, and we all make our way to the long wooden table that was set up with all our food. It smelled amazing. Everything looked amazing, and atmosphere of all of us talking and the smell of the warm food filled the air. That was until Landon walked in. What the Landon is a what can I say a bastard. Where is Landon? Walked in. His presence filled the space instantly. Taller, sharper, and colder than everyone else. He didn't say anything at first. He just went straight to the coffee pot, his back turned as he poured. Oh, look who finally crawled out of bed, Alex called out, grinning, or should I say out of her bed. The group burst into laughter and whistles. Henry smirked. Don't play dumb, Landon. Everyone saw you disappear upstairs with her. My stomach tightened. My grips on my fork fluttered, though I tried to keep my face neutral. Landon didn't even react to what they were saying. He just poured his coffee, stared it lazy, then leaned again the counter. You done? His tone was felt almost bored. Oh, come on, Adira teased. Don't tell us you sigh now. Plain laughed, striking his head as he took a sip of his orange juice. Classic Landon. No details, no explanation. A man of mystery. The group laughed. Together, still eating through the con- conversations. What I do isn't a group discussion. He took a sip from the coffee, from his coffee, sorry, dismissing the conversation like sweating away a fly. Uh, a reply of chuckles followed. The testing, teasing, dulling of as quickly as it had started. But I couldn't Hear it. Couldn't see the way he acted, like it meant nothing. A hot mix of irritation and something else twisted in her chest. He handed He hadn't even looked my way, not once. The sun was warm when we spilled out of the kitchen, and outside, laughter still buzzing from breakfast. Henry and Alex had already snatched a ball from the rack shed, a scuffed old score ball that looked like it had survived one too many rough matches. Come on, Percy, Henry called, tossing the ball between his hands. Time to prove yourself. No assessing skills required. Just don't call on your face, that's all. It I hesitated, my arms crossing instantly. I don't really play games like that. Exactly, Alex chimed in, already jogging backwards onto the lawn, which makes it even better. Eyes picking. Tilly nudged my arms with a smile. It's just for fun. If you suck, we all laugh with you, not at you. Flanny gave me an encouraging nod. I'll be on your team. You will be fine. That settled it. Before I could think better of it, I found myself standing barefoot on the grass, adrenaline buzzing in my chest. The game itself was chaos. Henry charged like he was in the championship final. Alex so botted with unnecessary tricks. Frankie shrieked whenever the ball came near her. Adira was restless, sliding in to steal the ball from anyone, friend or not. Oh, and me, I was awful. I kicked the air more than the ball, tripled over my own feet, and once managed to sound the ball finally in the completely wrong direction. Everyone hollowed with laughter, even myself. Solid M. Flanny teased after one spectacular miskick. Just maybe am it at the goal next time. May my cheeks flushed with a red, but I couldn't hide my smile. It was messy and embarrassing and completely different from anything I have ever done in my life. Landon barely played, hovering near the edge of the 11, most of the time taking to some random goals, and when the ball did roll his way, he grabbed it with effortlessly control, sent it flying back with precision, and scolded whenever Henry chugged. His eyes flicked towards me more than once, unreadable, but he never said a word. Eventually, when the laughter had worn them all down and the sun chimbled higher, the group collapsed onto the glass in a sweat heap. I lay flat on my back, chest heaving, staring up at the blue sky. I couldn't remember the time I had ever felt like this, but that feeling twisted suddenly into something sharper. The sound of Henry's laughter, the thud of the ball, and even Flanny is grin it all. Remember reminded me of how behind I was. Everyone else had been raised for this life. I wasn't even allowed outside. My smile faded. If I was going to keep up with them, this group, this school, this fighting, and to survive, not just here but to belong as well, I couldn't waste another night. The guard and the Hardmaster, headmaster gave me on my first day here burned in my memory. The training center, my private chance to catch up. I sat up, brushing the grass off my arms and legs. Flanny caught the change in my expression but didn't comment. Tonight, I decided silently. I'll go back to the training center tonight. Okay. We are on 30. And how many more we have left? We have we have 44. Means we have 14 more. Okay. We'll see how many we can do in how many days. The academy at night felt like a different world. The usual buzz of voice and footstep was gone, leaving the hall warped in silence. My bare feet padded softly against the cold floor, bored as I sneaked around my room trying not to wake the girls up. I quickly got changed and silently walked out the room, out the door, holding my breath with every cracks of the cold blooding. I don't know why I feel nervous, but I did. I wasn't against the rule for me, but obviously people aren't meant to see me. The card was tucked into my pocket, but something about sinking through the empty corridor made my pulses race. If the girls found, they would ask questions I wasn't ready to answer yet. I quickly walked through the empty and dark open grounds of the school. I raced the training center, taking a deep breath as I reached into my pocket and grabbed out the black card. I pressed the card against the screen until it beeped green. The door unlocked as I grabbed the handle and opened the heavy door. I slipped inside. The vast training center unfolded before me in shadows. The lights were dim and faintly glowed over the training equipments. The silence was sharper, heavier, and more pressing. My eyes adjusted to the dim lights and poor silence in the facility. That was until a heavy punching sound hit the room, echoing all throughout. My stomach sank. I'm not alone. There he was, already training hard. He wasn't dressed for sleep. He was dressed for war. Black tank top, loose training pants, his hands warped tighter like he had been here for hours. He didn't stop what he was doing. He didn't even look at me. I was unsure if he actually knew I was here. He just kept throwing precise punching at the bakes in front of him. The cracks of impact echoing in the hollow space. I needed to stop watching him. His ego couldn't take anymore if he saw me watching him. I turned my back and walked towards the lockers, placing the card and drinking bottles drinking bottles in the little space provided. I take off my jackets as I knew I was going to get rather not rather hot rather quickly this time. I crossed the floor trying to make my steps quiet on the polished concretes. I walked over to the part of the training facing facility that had the fake dummy to punch and fight with. I picked the furthest one from Landon in hopes he didn't see me. When I watched Landon before, he had his hand warped tighter in some clothes like materials. It was hard to tell from a distance. I noticed on the bench next to me they had the same extra cloth material rolled up, mounting for them pinned together. I grabbed two and at the best un, of my unknowingly ability, I tried to warp my hands up correctly. I interlinking the clothes around my hand and fingers and hoped for the best. I moved towards the fake dummy. It was a pale gray color but the shape of a strong man. It looked at my hands. I looked at my hands briefly and then scrunched them up into fists. My first couple of punches felt really awkward. My wrist bending and angles that stung. I tried to adjust, gritting my teeth and trying again. The rhythm was messy, but each strike felt like chipping away at something inside me. Across the room, Landon was silent except for the steady thud of his fist. But every so often, when I turned slightly, I caught him glancing quickly, sharp flicks of his eyes as though checking if I had given up already. I rushed to. I am over, feeling weak, behind, and honestly lost. And I starts here. It starts with training, gaining muscles, fighting, and never giving up. The silence between us wasn't comfortable. It was heavy, stressed, taut like wire. Each punch, each exhale filled with space, with challenge. By the time sweat damped my temples, my arms etched, and my knuckles throbbed. But I don't stop. At least not while he is watching. And he was watching. Even when he turned the back to his own training, I could feel it, the weight of his eyes, the silent dare in them. For the first time, it felt like I wasn't fighting the bag and more like I was fighting him. What the thing was saying, bro? It was silent in the training facility. All I could hear was the punching of mine and his echoing through the rooms. Then, without warning, his voice cut through the silence. Is that your idea of training? I spun after my last punch into the dummy. My breath sharp but heavy. How about you? How about you mind your business? I cut back quickly, wiping the sweat off my forehead with furrowed arms. Wow. His jaw tightened, and his next move wasn't towards the back. He was walking towards me. खतरनाक भाई. I barely had time to regret if before he was in front of me. A shadow closing the distance. I decided to turn my back on him, not wanting to even talk to him or give him a satisfaction he most definitely craves of ridiculing me. I face the dummy and start again with my punches, trying even harder to punch harder and fast, trying my best to ignore him. My wrists burned with each punch, my burn running through my arms. You call those punches? He scoffed hard. I stopped punching, my breathing heavy and sloppy. I rolled my eyes as I turned towards him. He stood only a couple meters away from me, his towel slung over his shoulder. मतलब ऐसे. Sweat shining all over his face, body everywhere. His eyes were sharp, flicking between my eyes and the bags with cocaines. COCKI and it was cookness. They won't even hurt a fly, he said flatly. If that's the best you have got, you're practically already dead. My jaw chinkled at his insult. My whole life I had say I have been practically dead. And yet I keep trying to survive and I have made it this far. I can go further. At least I'm trying. You think you are untouchable just because you have been doing this yourself whole life? I bit back. I bite back. He scoffed at my reply, rolling his eyes as well. No, I think I am untouchable because I actually know how to fight. My first my first challenged clinched automatically. He burned of rope were digging into my palms. Yeah, then maybe you should teach the rest of us mortals, how to be perfect like you then. His eyes flickered towards me and the corner of his mouth twitched. Maybe I will. Like this. Like this. He took a simple step forward, boots whispering against the mat. His gaze dropped to her wrist. You word those wrong. My eyebrows furrowed with his question. Confused. What? He closed the distance between us before I could even react. The space suddenly shrank between us, his presence filling it. Without asking, he took my hand, his fingers rough and clutched against my skin. If you don't warp them right, you'll shatter your wrist the second you land a punch, he said, already undoing the bandage. His voice wasn't cruel. It was a matter of fact, calm, but still made my pulses stutter. I stood frozen. His head was bowed slightly. I focused on my hands. The smell of him, the smell of him, soap, still, and faint sweat. It was dizzying. He walked with precision, movements practiced, efficient, almost gentle in contrast to his sharp tone. There, he mummed under his breath, tugging at the last strip tightly. Try not to hurt yourself this time. I blinked, my throat dry as can be. You really have a way with encouragement. That ghost of Smrick appeared again as he stepped back. Show me what you have got then. I was surprised. He actually allowed me to try and fight him, practice on him. But even he's given me the chance to punch him, so I am certainly going to take it. क्या बात है भाई? I shifted my stance, planting my feet the way I have seen others do. Landon do. My heart throbbed against my ribs. Dhadak, 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 dhadak. And then I swing. My first my my fist connected with his chest. Solid muscle beneath fabrics. But Landon barely moved. He didn't even blink. I threw another punch in which he dodged effortlessly, leading just out of reach. Your focus sloppy, he said, the words rolling off his tongue like a critique he had given 100 times. I tried again. He caught my wrist mid-air, his grip stronger but unyieldingly telegraphed. So tough. I yanked free, breathing hard, frustration bubbling up my throat, sweat slicked off my tempo. Is this what you call fighting? He taunted me. Taunt मार रहा है भड़वा कहीं का. Circling me slowly. His tone wasn't mocking, he was bored, detached. No wonder they gave you the night session, he added on. My chest heaved, her pride stinging more than my muscle. At least I am trying, I snapped, not standing there, acting like I am God's gift to combat. He stopped, his head tilting slightly. That sounded like an insult. It was, I said sharply. My voice trembled slightly, but I didn't back down. His smirk vanished quickly and the air shifted in the room. In a blur motion, Landon caught my arms strangely and spun me around quickly. My back hit his chest, harder enough to knock the breath out of me. I gasped, then froze. One of his arms locked around my waist, the other catching my wrist. Mad motion. The sudden closeness made my head spin. सिखा रहा है भाई लड़ना. And then, cold against my throat, was the edge of a training knife. Landon's breath was steady against her ear, and when he spoke, his voice low and dangerous. I could feel his breath hit my neck, sending goosebumps down my spine. His grip tighter around my wrist and my waist. Not intimidating, huh, he said sharply. I am not sharply into my ear. My mind flashes back to the party, back to the truth or dare situation where I told him he wasn't intimidating. Clearly, he proved me I was wrong. My body went rigged. The words, the same one I had thrown at him at the party, hit different now. My pulse hummed under the knife. I could feel every inch of him, the solid, immovable weight of muscles against my back, and the heat radiating off him. Say it again, he mumbled, pressing the blade and fraction closer. Say I'm not intimidating. Go on. His throat went dry. She met his eye in the relaxation of the wall mirror. And for a moment, neither of them moved. The tension in the room crackled like statics, sharp and dangerous. He didn't press the blade harder, but he didn't ease it either. He just let it rest there, a reminder of how he completely controlled the moment. My breath coming back quickly and shallow. The world seemed to narrow to the sound of my own heartbeat and the quiet rasp of steel against my skin. Then, without warning, he let me go. I showed me silently forward. The knife clattered to me to the mat. I stumbled forward, chatting myself on my palm. My arm trembled, but Landon's expression didn't change. He simply stood there, watching her eyes like eyes dark and unreadable. Lesson 1, he said quietly. Don't run your mouth to people who could easily end up with one moment. He turned away, retrieving another blade from the wreck. His movements smooth and unhurried, as if nothing significant had just happened. I stayed on my knees for a moment, my lungs burning, every nerve in my body still buzzing. The space where his hand had been on my wrist tangled, and I hated it. When I finally paused myself to my feet, her relaxation in the mirror wall looked different, smaller, second, but not broken. The ghost of knife still pressed at my throat, reminding me of just how easily he could have ended me. If I was ever going to survive here, if I was ever going to stand toe to toe with people like Langdon, then I couldn't let this break me. I had have to train harder, push further until the next time he tried to put me down, I wouldn't crumble under the weight of it. My fist chinked at my slide, trembling but firm. One day I promised myself, one day he won't be able to look at me like I'm nothing. I looked over at him. If he was staying, then I was staying. My throat tented a part of myself waiting to run, hide, and never saw my face here again. But something in his complete dismissal of me, like I was no more threatening than a shadow on the wall, spreaded. Something inside me, we have a little bit more. I turned back to the punching bag, raising my fist again. My punches wasn't strong and I know he could probably hear how unsteady my breathing was, but I forced myself to keep going. Every hit was my way of saying I wouldn't let him scare me off. Across the room, London was a storm, contained in human form. His new knife still throwing the air with deadly precision, flexing with every stick. His movements controlled but terrifying fast. He didn't look at me once, didn't even acknowledge my presence, and somehow that burned more than his earlier words. My fits, fits kept smiling into the bag. My arms skimmed, my chest burned, but I refused to stop. The silence between us was thick, punctuated only by my rage breath and the brutal efficiency of this training. It was like we were both making a point without ever saying a word. By the time I collapsed onto the mat, drenched in sweat, I glanced over. London was still going, his body moving like a weapon, on to perfection. He didn't break, he didn't flatter. And for the first time, I realized just how far I had to go. And the war starts from here. And we are on chapter 31, means we just have to finish 14 chapters more. And if we do 3 chapters per day, We could do this or complete this in nearly 5 days. Means next to the Wednesday. And we must to do that on Wednesday. By Wednesday we can say. Good night guys, good night, good night. Thank you for being so far, and if you like my videos, just give me a thumbs up guys. And do like and subscribe my channel. Suggest me for any more improvements and for anything. That's all from my side guys. Good night, good night, have a good day. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram guys, Jai Shri Ram.